Okay, good morning. So we're gonna have a Bible study. Okay, turn to First Samuel in the Old Testament. First Samuel chapter 8, verses 1 to 9. And it came to pass when Samuel was old that he made his sons judges over Israel. Now the name of the first son, behold, thou art, and thy sons walk not in thy ways. Now make us a king to judge us like all the nations. But the thing displeased Samuel when they said, give us a king to judge us. And Samuel prayed unto the Lord. And the Lord said unto Samuel, hearken unto the voice of the people in all that they say unto thee. For they have not rejected thee, but they have rejected me, that I should not reign over them. According to all thy works which they have done since the day I brought them up out of Egypt, even unto this day, wherewith they have forsaken me, and served other gods, so did also unto thee. Now therefore hearken unto their voice, howbeit ye protest solemnly unto them, and show them the man of the king that shall reign over them. Okay? So the thing is that we could see here, all right, we could take this election for an example, right? That the church didn't really want to have um, God ruling over their hearts and minds. Okay, that's why they are so quick to go for Trump or go for Biden, okay, or go for Kamala Harris, because they didn't really want Christ ruling over their lives. They didn't really want um, Christ dictating uh, how they should think. They didn't want Christ uh, telling them things that they didn't want to hear. Okay. For instance, let's take divorce and remarriage, for example, right? Um, Christians hate hearing the fact that um, marriage does not end with adultery or abuse. All right, the majority of the church does not want to hear that. Okay, they don't want to hear that. They want to hear that if they, let's say, they were divorced and remarried, which God calls as adultery, before they got saved, and now they got saved, they have to understand that since their first spouse is still alive, they have to end that marriage that God has called adulterous and either reconcile with their first covenant spouse or be celibate serving the Lord. So once again, they don't want to hear that. So they find another pastor that will tell them what they want to hear. Okay. Let's say a woman is a feminist, right? And they don't want to hear that God demands that you give up feminism and serve him the Bible's order of things. They don't want to hear that. They'll go find somebody else. All right. And the cycle, and you get the idea. They'll find a woman who is not supposed to be a pastor, who is pastoring a church, to tell them what they want to hear. Okay? Let's be like the other nations. Okay? And we've all struggled with this. But God is not going to break you. God is not going to uh, choke slam you into his good graces. God is going to warn you. He'll send warnings. But then, he respects our free will. The book of Revelation says, he who is holy, let him be holy still. He who is filthy, let him be filthy still. Basically, out of all the warnings I have given you in this book, out of all the lives that I have shown who have been blessed when they obeyed me and have been punished when they disobeyed me, out of all the lives that I have shown in this book, the examples of what a life is when a person obeys me and what a life is when a person disobeys me, I still give you the free will to choose me. Because that was God's after, with a gun to your head, okay? Being forced to obey him. He wants you to obey out of your own free will. God gives us a free will to choose, and he gives us chances and chances and chances until that day where you will be taken from your body to be judged by the Lord. Okay? And we see this a lot in the Christian church. If you're a person that takes the Bible seriously and your eyes are opened and you try to tell the truth about Christ, you will get some resistance. You will be hated, okay? You will face some backlash. It may come to the point where you're asked to leave the church, leave the fellowship, actually, because the church is really the called out ones. It's the body of believers who believe in Jesus, okay? And that's what it is. And it's not about rejecting you, really. It's about rejecting Christ. Because God is still in his mercy trying to show people the way, trying to tell people, stop going your own way. It's tough, it's hard, but he still gives us a choice. But he's still there pleading. He's still there fighting in the death of the wicked. And many of us have chosen to be wicked, especially when it came to this election, whoever you voted for, Democrat or Republican. When you open, your eyes are open, all right, as a Christian, and when you have done looking into both these political parties, you will see that a Christian has to step out, because both sides are anti-God. All right? And as a Christian, when you do that, that's when you're going to see it. That's when you're going to see the anger and the hate. Because you called out both sides. One side, Republican, is about greed, it's about power, it's about dominance, it's about getting much money as you can, much wealth, and disregarding the employee, disregarding the worker. Okay? You can see with Trump rolling back OSHA protections, that if a worker is hurt on a job, that death or that injury has to be reported to OSHA, an agency that is for the workers. Okay? He rolled that back. Does a Christian do that? No. We got Joe Biden, all right, that says if you do not put a rainbow bathroom in there for in those public schools, those kids will not get funding for free lunch in school. Okay? Also, there's this push, okay, within the how could I say this? The same in the same party movement. That's how I will address it. The same party movement, okay, where they want the right to have relations with children. Okay, so you're seeing the evil on both sides of the aisle. Neither side cares or wants to regard Jesus as God. And the Christian will see this, and if he is honest, he will see I can't play this game. I cannot vote, I cannot play this game. because voting for either one is voting for the devil. All right? Now therefore hearken unto their voice, howbeit ye protest solemnly unto them, and show them the manner of the king that shall reign over them. And you know who was that king? That king was Saul. All right? According to all thy works which I have done since this day, I brought them. All right, sorry about that. Sorry about that. All right? Now here it is. Okay? And and appoint them to himself for his chariots and to be his horsemen, and some shall run before his chariots. And he will appoint his captains over thousands, and captains over fifties, and will set them to ear his ground, and to reap his harvest, and to make his instruments of war, and instruments of chariots. And he will take your daughters to be confectionaries, and to be cooks, to be bakers. He will take your fields and your vineyards, and your oil, and your olive yards, even the best of them, and give them to his servants. All right? Taking the best that is meant for the people and give them to his own little clique. And he will take a tenth of your seed and of your vineyards and give to his officers and to his servants. And he will take your manservants and your maidservants and your goodliest young men and your donkeys and put them to his work. And he will take a tenth of your sheep, and ye shall be his servants. The kings, see, the problem is the kings of those days, they were looked upon as gods. They were greedy. They felt entitled, and they could do whatever they want. All right? They felt they could do whatever they pleased. All right? Let me ask you something. Don't these presidents be sending your sons and daughters to wars under false pretenses? What did George Bush do? Did not George Bush take your sons and daughters to fight overseas for a claim of weapons of mass destruction, only to find out there was no weapons of mass destruction? Didn't George Bush do that? All right? Leading to a waste of human life? This is what I'm talking about. Christian church wants a king and a ruler in their own eyes, to be like everybody else. Okay? You left your first spouse, okay? Or it was bad. You left your first covenant marriage. Then you got hooked up with somebody else, and it was worse than the relationship you were. Your marriage was bad, but when you went to another relationship, it was worse. Okay? Some of you have even lost your own lives. I remember reading a story about a woman who left her abusive spouse, right? And then she went off and married a pastor. The abusive spouse found out. He took her out. And the pastor. Lived in the same area too. This is a dangerous game that we are playing. This is a dangerous game. He will take a tenth of your sheep, and ye shall be his servants. And ye shall cry out in that day because of your king, which ye have chosen you, and the Lord will not hear you in that day. Do you hear that? And ye shall cry out in that day because of your king, which ye have chosen you, and the Lord will not hear you in that day. Nevertheless, the people refused to obey the voice of Samuel, and they said, Nay, we will have a king over us. And we also may be like all the other nations, that our king may judge us and go out before us and fight our battles. Oh, Lord. We've all done this. There's a time that's pressing. Okay? And we, instead of obeying God, we choose a false God. We've all done this. Well, we have a choice. Okay? Either we're going to obey or we're going to live our own lives. Living our own lives, we may have it sweet on this earth, but in the end, there's death. There's the second death. All right? That our king may judge us and go out before us and fight our battles. What did Trump say? Trump said, hey, I'll fight for you. What do all these politicians say? I'll fight for you. I'll do this. I'll do that. And what happens when they get the power they get? They renege or they do something worse. Trump said, I'll get rid of Obamacare. All right? I'll put in Trump care. I promise I will protect you, and it will back you if you have pre-existing conditions. What happens when you find out about it? It doesn't back you if you have pre-existing conditions. Okay? Joe Biden was saying, "Oh, I am against racism. I am against all this and that." But you support a nation that is known for human trafficking, that is known for weapons smuggling, that is known for its neo-Nazi beliefs. Ukraine. You work with a dictator who's a neo-Nazi. You know this war cannot be won. You know Ukraine has no chance against Russia, but you keep giving this dictator money, and men keep dying in this war. You keep throwing human beings at a war that you know they cannot win. And you say you're against racism, but you're supporting neo-Nazis. And neo-Nazis, we all know about them. Read about World War II. And you will have Christians supporting this man. All right? Supporting either politician. It is wrong. Because they're out to serve themselves. You want a king over you? And we're choosing politicians to be our kings. And they don't care about you. The American people Majority of them are lost and pagan. Keep voting for these people every 4 years. Same tactic, different face. Make promises only to find out after they get in, they're going to renege on those promises. And then another 4 years, they make another set of promises. Do it again and again and again and again. Christ, believing that he is the way, the truth, and the life. In him there is no guile, there is no deceit. And Samuel heard all the words of the people, and he rehearsed them in the ears of the Lord. And the Lord said to Samuel, hearken unto their voice, and make them a king. And Samuel said unto the men of Israel, go ye every man unto his city. You know, when you talk to people online, just curious about picking Trump, okay? And you see all these Christians backing him. They say, if I want to know about God, I'll go to church. Not understanding that one, a Christian is the church. Two, if you can't bring God to voting, leave the voting alone. The devil is real, and the devil is behind the politics. They don't understand that. They don't want to hear that. They think whatever he says is right, because these politicians feed into your carnal, evil nature. Trump, Biden, whoever they are. All right? Obama fed into, like, if you took on the action of having sex before marriage and there's a baby, when he said about his daughter, well, I don't want my daughter to pay for a mistake of having a baby, so she should be able to get rid of it. And everybody cheered, tapping into the evil nature of, you know what? Even though I chose to open my legs to a man who wasn't going to marry me, this baby gotta be deleted. Yep, it's a convenience to me. Even though I chose to lay down with a man, or a man chose to lay down with this woman, instead of taking care of the accountability, being accountable for the life that I have created, that we created, we're just going to get rid of it. Everybody on the Democrat side cheered. They were happy. All right? You even got some Christians who think it's okay. Okay? That's what abortion is. It's human sacrifice. That's what it is. Blood sacrifice. I don't know how else to spell it for you. All right? The word, probably the word homosexual in the Bible. But you see the term like man lie with man or woman lie with woman, and it's put in the frame, the context of it's wrong. All right? We have Sodom and Gomorrah as an example. We have the book of Romans of creation, how, humanity didn't want to accept God over their life. So, and when they fell in lust for one another of the same team, they received the due punishment for it, which is the health complications of that lifestyle. People cheered because they were getting what they wanted out of their desire. All right? Now, don't get me wrong. All right? There are instances where I understand free will. Okay? I understand it. But using this as a contraceptive, no. No, no, no. You got the Republican side. Those Christians who are Republican. Small government, free markets. Now, at first, it looks okay. All right? It looks okay. But they want to basically crush the worker. And I've said that before already. Crush the worker. And Trump laughed at how Trump laughed at that. And you have people cheering because you got a lot of Republicans, conservatives that may own businesses, and they hate unions. Elon Musk hates unions. The very thing that is meant to protect workers from abuse practices of employers. Do you think God is happy with that? No. But people who are Republican and claim to be Christian want that king over their lives. They don't want to hear that they have to pay their workers. They don't want to hear that if their employee gets hurt or dies on the job, they got to report it to OSHA. They don't want to hear that they have to love thy neighbor as thyself. They don't want to hear that. They don't want to conform to Christ. That's the crux of this. They don't want to conform to Christ. This is why Trump got into office, because the evangelicals they hate Christ themselves, or they really aren't Christians, they're just Freemasons underneath. Okay? The ones at the top. And the lower ones, yeah, they hate Jesus guts. They sing his praises, but deep down they hate his guts. They don't like turning the other cheek. They don't like I can't be racist anymore. I have to be nice to my employees. I have to treat them as human beings. I have to pay for benefits. I don't like to hear that. I want to do what I want to do. Okay? And not be penalized for it. I don't like that weak gospel of Jesus Christ. I hate the Sermon on the Mount. That is what is in the heart of these people who voted for Trump, or who they voted for whatever politician. That will that will tickle their itching ears. And if you dare try to tell me otherwise, I will label you a legalist. I will say that you have Trump derangement syndrome. I will say whatever I have to say to get you out of my face, to justify my sin. That is what it is. Leave me alone. Let me have my golden calf. I want nothing to do with the gospel of Jesus Christ. Give me my golden calf. Give me Barabbas. Do not give me Jesus. Give me Barabbas. I want what I want. This is why it was so easy to get people to take the little solution 3 years ago, because the calf was money. The calf was a politician that was going to say me, give me sweet, swelling words. Okay? And it's coming again. It's coming again. One day, we're going to have, sir, where is your mark? Sir, you cannot buy these groceries without that mark. Sir, if you want this job, you have to go get that mark. When are you going to schedule to get the mark, sir? Because we need you to, since you passed the job application process, we still need you to take the mark, sir. Want to go to this other country? Where's your mark, ma'am? Where is it? One of these days, that's coming. God's not going to hear the fact, well, I was hungry. God's not going to hear the fact, well, I needed a job to provide for my family. God's not going to hear none of that. Why didn't you trust me to provide for you? Why didn't you take my words seriously? Why didn't you listen to me? Why didn't you endure and bear it like I bared for you on the cross? Why didn't you listen to me? That's what's going to be repeated. And then it's off to a burning hell with worms, weeping, gnashing of teeth. There's going to be a real big divide. A really big divide. Not between Democrat and Republican. It's going to be the sheeps and the goats. That's what it's going to be like. The sheeps and the goats who are actually going to live for Christ, going to preach his word, check people who want to preach a false doctrine. It will be father against son, husband against wife, children against parents, nation against nation, and for all, you'll be hated by all men of all nations for my name's sake. And it's going to bring people to tears. And there'll be people who will follow Christ anyway. And there will be joy they'll be bring to tears, curse God, and go live what they want to do. Because this is going to be a brutal fight to the finish. Peace and God bless.